Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. Yes, I've heard all about drama about YouTubers doxing other YouTubers and being horrible to each other and demanding that each other be removed from the platform and all kinds of shit.
Of course he heard about it. DSP loves drama. Despite everything he says, he knows that he secretly loves drama. He lives for it. And we'll see a prime example of that in this very segment.
I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, I am incredibly happy to have been staying out of all kinds of drama recently. Have you not noticed that there is no drama whatsoever going on around here? None.
I mean, that's all really dependent on what you consider drama. I mean, we really don't have to look that far back to when he was doing drama. If you want to start in the summer with the LTG thing, that's guaranteed certified drama. He was starting beef with another streamer for no reason. He did multiple 45-minute segments about another streamer where he was calling him a bitch. If that isn't drama, I really don't know what is. If you want something more recent than that, you can go back to September 13th. I made a video about him talking about XQC nonstop. And he kept saying that what he does is easy and only morons like it and he could do the same thing and that it's just low effort content. Like I said, that was only September 13th, so a little over a month ago. And it was just 2 weeks ago he went on that whole curated content rant when he sneak dissed multiple huge creators like Ninja and Dr. Disrespect and also took some shots at the side scrollers. If you want something more recent than that, I released another video 9 days ago which would have put the situation on the 10th where he was name dropping Mutahar and insinuating that Mutahar wasn't interested in doing an honest interview. Is none of that drama to you, DSP? And those are just examples of things that I made videos on. I know for a fact there's other things that I would consider him starting drama that I didn't do videos on. I just wanted to say all that so we could all be on the same page that DSP is lying straight to your face right now.
Absolutely not. People try. Oh, they try to bait me into it all the time. Absolutely they do. They'll ask me a question about another YouTuber. They'll ask me a question to talk about this or that. What do you think about this with Boogie? What do you think about this with this person? I'm like, nope.
So he has enough mental capacity to understand that when people tip him and ask him about other content creators that he's being baited into talking about them. But he doesn't have the mental capacity to understand that he just received a tip of that very nature where they were asking if he had seen the Sniper Wolf and Jack's film situation. And it has led to this very segment where he's going to bring up a whole bunch of drama. He understands the concept but can't see it as it's happening.
Absolutely not. I'm not taking your bait. I want nothing to do with these people. Absolutely nothing. Remember, I am on an island. The island of Phil. I live here by myself.
Team Divorce is probably popping off after that one.
And my community can watch what I do here, and that's it. I want nothing to do with any of these other fucking people. Nothing. I want to be left alone because they're all nuts. Seriously, they're all fucking crazy.
They're all crazy. Coming from the 41-year-old man who leaves his house once a week, has no social life, and the only outlet that he has is a mobile gacha game where he gets to look at JPEGs of sweaty wrestlers. If that's the case, I think I'd rather be crazy.
They all want to constantly be railing on each other and attacking each other and being toxic to each other and gunning on these bandwagons against each other and doing all this horrible shit, right? I've had enough.
All of the things that you just mentioned, though, the railing on each other, the being toxic to each other, those are all things that you love to do, DSP. The only time you mention other content creators is to build yourself up and put them down and talk negatively about them. Because anytime you talk positively about a content creator, you refuse to name drop them at all. You give the vaguest description of what they do and who they are so that they won't get trolled, which I'm sure that they appreciate. But that means that you don't actually talk positively about any specific YouTube creator or any creator online at all. The only time that you give specifics is when you are being negative.
I really had enough. So earlier this year, you know what happened. You guys know all about all the nonsense that happened with an interview and trying to pull me into a podcast and trying to pull me into this and that. And I said, enough is fucking enough. If anything, all this has shown is that all these people are all in it for themselves. All they care about is their own personal gain, very short-term personal gain.
How are they all in it for themselves? Keemstar was literally trying to give you $50,000 for your time. As a start, Mutahar offered you $5,000 for what would have been about an hour or two of your time total. How is that in it for himself? Sure, they would have got something out of it. They would have gotten a product that they could show to their viewers that their viewers would probably want to see. But when they're offering you money, that's not all in it for themselves. They're trying to spread the wealth to you because you're part of the product that they're producing.
Because if anything, what they realize now is that drama style shit is very flash in the pan, instant, gratification style attention that just goes away. The moment that the drama side dies down, these people are no longer pertinent. No one gives two fucks about them anymore. It doesn't matter how many YouTube boxing matches they do. It doesn't matter how many fucking, you know, political rants they go on. It doesn't matter, you know, and I'm talking about a lot of people in general. It's not just one person. It's a lot of people this year that have tried to pull me into stuff.
He actually just said himself that he's talking about a lot of different people here. But somehow this is not drama content. This is not him talking bad on other people. He stays completely out of the drama. And he can say what he wants about the relevancy not sticking because the drama content is just flash in the pan popularity. But at least they're trying to grow their viewer base. They're trying to grow their channel. They're trying to advance their business so that they can continue to make more and more money and make their name bigger. It's not a positive that DSP is content staying in the Snort fort 6 days a week and begging to the same 3 whales on repeat so that they'll pay his bills for him. That's not a good thing. I don't know what sort of mental gymnastics he has to do to convince himself that it is, but it's just not. When you're in the online entertainment industry, being entertaining online is kind of the entire job. And sometimes that entertainment might look like different things that you typically don't do. And sometimes it's for the better and sometimes it's for the worse, but you don't know till you try, and at least they're trying. I don't support all of these people. I don't particularly like a lot of the content that they do, at least the people that he's specifically talking about here, but at least they're trying something, and there is something admirable in that.
They've outright threatened me. I got threatened this year with all kinds of shit. It's like, are you out of your mind? I'm a guy who literally just sits right here and just plays games and talks with you guys about silly stuff every day. Why on earth, of all the people on the planet, to go after a threat, why would you threaten me? You see me as a threat that you have to threaten me? Me! Free!
But in all seriousness, this is the first time I've ever heard of DSP being threatened recently. If somebody is more informed than me and can tell me what he is talking about, please inform me in the comments and I'll pin it, because I actually don't know and I want to make sure that other people know if this is true. But I don't think anybody actually sees DSP as a threat. Everybody who knows of DSP knows and understands that he's a coward. He's one of the biggest cowards that the internet has to offer. So no, I don't think anybody is looking at you and thinking that you're a threat.
Joe Nobody. Mr. 300 views on a stream. You think I'm a threat, that you have to come and threaten me, right? These people are just out of their minds. They are. They're fucking nuts, you know? And if anything, you know, the fact that when I pulled out of all that drama earlier this year, right? The fact that they continued and tried to keep pulling me back in is just absolutely crazy, and I think it should be representative of how those people are versus me. I want nothing to do with that.
For someone who wants nothing to do with that or any drama at all, you seem to talk about it a lot. Again, you seem to have everybody's name in your mouth. You seem to be concerned about what everybody else on the internet is doing but yourself. Which is extra strange because you just lost, what, 250 memberships or something like that? Shouldn't you be concerned about how much money you're gonna make next month? Shouldn't that be your primary concern? Don't you have some begging to do so that you can pay your bills because you spent $1,500 in the span of, what, 3 days on WWE Champions? Isn't that what you're supposed to be worried about?
I just want to make content for my community and have a good, chill time with all of you every day. Those people, the only attention they can ever get for themselves is to create more drama. So anything they can do to create drama, they will do.
So do you, DSP, so don't act like you're any better than anybody else. The only difference is that when they make drama content, they make money off of it and they laugh at you. When you make drama content, you make $0 off of it and people still come and laugh at you.
Because that's their popularity. They don't have anything creative, they don't have anything positive or constructive to offer to the planet besides bringing down others or self-degrading themselves for the sake of clickbait views. So I have nothing to do with any of that shit. You know what I mean? I let them be. And, you know, I don't want anything to do with this YouTuber's doxing this one and yelling at this one and screaming at this one and creating this situation and that situation. Let them all do it forever. I don't care. I have nothing whatsoever to fucking do with those people. Nothing whatsoever, you know?
And maybe right now it's a positive thing that he doesn't interact with any other online content creators because he doesn't have to be roped into this at all. But overall, that's not a positive either. It's quite a negative that he doesn't interact with anybody in the industry. There's no room for collab projects. There's no one to give him advice when he needs help because they're more successful than him. There's nobody to give him shout outs positively to send actual viewers his way. There's nobody even putting a positive light on his name on the internet anywhere. But because he's so short-sighted, he doesn't understand that this is a negative for his business as a whole.
And if anything, what you can see is everything that I've said over the years is true. Everything that I've ever said about this stuff is always correct. But people don't want to believe Darkside Phil because they turned me into a negative meme. So they say, oh, he's a clown, he's a joke, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Everything I've said about this shit is always correct, all right?
Well, DSP, you are a textbook narcissist, a pathological liar, former alcoholic, a mobile game gambling addict, and a business owner who has filed for bankruptcy. I advise that nobody take anything that you say as truth and just do pretty much the exact opposite.
Earlier this year, I was repeatedly threatened about a podcast, correct?
Wait, they threatened him with a podcast? What does that mean? I stand by what I said earlier. If you know anything about this specifically, leave it in the comments because I'm trying to find out. What did they say? That they were going to beat him up if he didn't go on the podcast? This is so stupid. What could he mean? And of course he's going to leave it vague.
Which I never had any intention of ever being a part of, right? Then I was offered to be a part of a different kind of podcast that was going to be way more positive than this toxic one. And I said I would consider it. Then the whole thing flipped on its head and I was attacked by the people who wanted me in the podcast. What happened? You know, they're just out of their minds, these people. All right. But anyway.
Well, I can tell you that those people who wanted you on the podcast, being Boogie and Wings, were probably mighty upset that you decided to almost fumble their entire $50,000 bag because you're scared of Keemstar. That's a lot of money for one person to screw you out of because they just refuse to work with another person. I don't know how you personally turned down a $50,000 payday, but I definitely don't know how you were willing to screw over two other people who really could have used a $50,000 payday as well. That astonishes me. Like, you couldn't even do it to better their lives and just not be selfish for what at the end of the day actually amounted to 2 podcasts worth of content. Imagine fumbling $50,000 because you refused to do 2 podcasts.
It's this simple. Everything I said is true. What did I originally say? I said the whole reason that any podcast was ever going to work is because I was part of it.
That's because you're the most interesting lolcow out of the 3 of them. That's why I don't do Boogie content. That's why I don't do Wings content yet. I do have intentions of doing that eventually. Wings is just a little harder for me to watch. But yes, DSP, you're the most interesting lolcow out of the 3 of them. You're the guy. You're the biggest clown at the clown show. Where Boogie and Wings are just kind of sad and pathetic, you're like an onion where you peel back layer after layer. Not only are you bad at video games, but you're also a narcissist, but you're also a liar, and you have no ability to self-reflect, and you screwed a bunch of people over, and it just goes deeper and deeper. There's so many layers and there's so much lore that people have entire shows dedicated to just going through your old stuff and uncovering forgotten things. Shout out WPIG 1651 for the Dent Sea Scrolls and the Plunge. Those are both fantastic if you're looking to find out some DSP lore.
That's it. I was the linchpin of the whole project because I'm the one who sits here and does a podcast every day. I'm the one who I know could direct the boat that would make the show interesting. Right? Without me, it doesn't work. So they tried to do a podcast without me. Where is it? Where is it? Where is the podcast? It doesn't exist.
God, that smug little chuckle with the smile on his face, like he got one over on him or something. When again, the truth of the situation is that they made $50,000 for what amounted to 2 podcasts that might never come out. $50,000 for what might have been 3 to 4 hours worth of work that no one will ever see. The easiest payday in existence. This is not a W for Darkside Phil. This is a huge L. He's just too delusional to understand that.
You know? So, fuck them. That's why I want nothing to do with any of these people. Let them all go off the deep end. Let them all rot. They all toxic people. They're all in for themselves. They really don't care about the success of anyone else outside of their own bubble. They're all self-preservation fucking people, and they can't see past the tip of their own nose.
They only care about the people that are in their bubble, but they were willing to extend an olive branch to you and try and get you in on this payday. And you turned them down because you couldn't get over your own ego. But they only care about people in their bubble. They can't see past their own noses, but you're the guy who's begging for tips every day because you can't plan your YouTube check properly when you've known since the beginning of the year that they pay you on the same day every month and that this month it was going to fall on a weekend. Do you see how this doesn't make any sense at all? DSP should really just turn the camera off and put a mirror there instead and see how he feels afterwards, because it actually might do him some good.
So let them do what they want to do. Let them leave me the fuck alone. I want nothing to do with any of them. You know what's crazy is that there's these people who I have never said a single negative thing about ever in my entirety on the internet. In fact, I've only said things but praise or positive things, and even they go out of their way to say negative shit about me.
Just because you say positive things about someone doesn't mean that they owe you that in return. You should give positive praise to people who deserve it. And if they think that you deserve it, they would give it back. But unfortunately for you, DSP, nobody looks at you and thinks that you deserve positive praise. In fact, when most people look at you, they only have negative things to say. I don't think that that's a coincidence at all, and I think you should probably look into that.
So you know what? Fuck them. I want nothing to do with them. Let them rock. Like I said, they're all going to fail. They're all going to disappear. There's nothing I can do about that, right? I mean, let them go and let them say what they want to say and do what they want to do in their own bubbles. I have nothing to do with them and their bubbles of bullshit, right? Really. I just have nothing to do with this at all. I'm done with it, all their nonsense and drama. I'm here to make fun gaming content, to do some current events, you know, to talk it up and have a good time with my audience.
If that's how you feel about the situation, then stop talking about it. Like right now. Be done with this segment. Don't go on anymore. You could just start playing the game or move on to the next segment or whatever you gotta do on your level 1 pre-stream here. But you can't do that because you can't help yourself. You have no self-control when it comes to talking about other people.
That's how I've always been. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I never have myself involved with these other people's drama and bullshit. And this is why. You know, this year was a case in point. People, oh, why don't you branch out? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Yeah, look how it worked out, right? The moment I even considered it, it just completely extrapolated and blew up with a bunch of bullshit, right?
If it were anybody other than DSP, I would recommend continuing to try new things and branch out. It's good for you. You shouldn't stay in your comfort zone all the time. You should do something new, especially if it's going to benefit your business. But with DSP, I don't honestly expect it to go any better for him regardless of how many times he tries something new. Because he just kind of always messes it up, you know? And he's got no one to blame for that but himself. It's because of his behavior over the last 15 years on the internet. He has a history and people know what it is.
So I'm just never going to waste time on this shit ever again. There's just no point. I'm happy where I am.
On level 1.
You know? And it's funny too, because as I told you guys, I still get contacted by people who say, oh, Phil, I want you on an interview. I want to do this. And I say, okay, let's do an interview. But by the way, I did an interview in March. The interview covered all the drama topics everyone's interested in. I'm done. I have literally nothing else to say about any of those topics that were discussed in March. If you want my answers on those topics, you can watch that podcast from March. In perpetuity, forever, those are my answers. They're never going to change. Now, if you want to talk about anything else that wasn't discussed in that podcast, including maybe criticism of me as a content creator, or talk about the gaming as a whole, how gaming has changed, YouTube and streaming and anything, copyright issues, any of this shit that I'm involved in, that I have a wealth of knowledge that I can share with you, I'm more than willing to go on a podcast and talk about that. I just don't want to talk about the same fucking drama every time. So that's that. And guess what? Every single person, when I tell them that, they disappear. They just go away. Because all they're interested in is drama. They don't have anything to add. They don't have any fucking content to put out on the internet. All they do is they regurgitate drama to get clickbait views on their garbage.
Of course, the reason that they disappear couldn't possibly be that DSP is trying to dictate how the interview will go and what questions they are and aren't allowed to ask, which obviously wouldn't lead to a good interview at all. No, it couldn't possibly be because they want to put out a good interview and make good content for their audiences. So when DSP offers to make them bad content, they just refuse and leave. Of course not. Whatever DSP said is obviously correct. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And even though he didn't name drop him now, he is talking about Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers, who he clearly has no idea what kind of content he makes because Mutahar does not do the drama thing all the time. Every once in a while maybe, but most of the time he's talking about video games. He's talking about some sort of tech. But DSP doesn't know anything about anybody that he hates on. He just knows that they make more money and better content than him and he's jealous of it. But instead of saying that he's jealous or acknowledging that he's envious in any way, he'd much rather just complain and berate them online and act like he's so much better than them.
So they want nothing to do with me because I don't have anything to do with drama. I'll talk about any topic you want. I have lots of lots of knowledge, lots of experience, lots of stuff to offer to any kind of discussion. They don't want to discuss anything intelligent. They want drama. So that's why I'm not in anyone's podcast and I won't be. No one is interested in that.
He claims to have a wealth of knowledge and experience that he could provide to any topic of discussions. But the man hasn't had a real job in 15 years and only leaves his house once a week and doesn't talk to anybody other than his wife, his cat, and his parents. What experience does he have to offer to anybody? What knowledge does he have to offer to any conversation? He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anyone. He doesn't know how the real world works. He has exactly two things to talk about. He can give you the 15 years ago when I started speech, or he can tell you what he DoorDashed on his day off. That's it. That's all he knows. That's all his experience is. And I'm gonna be honest, neither of those things have any value to anybody at all.
So, yeah. So I'm done. Like I said, that's it. I don't care about YouTubers doxing each other. Don't care. I'm done with that. I'm so far removed from this fucking vortex of horse shit. I want nothing to do with these idiots. Nothing. Let them all fucking spin in the toilet together and get flushed at the same time. It's like they say, I am the rock against which everything splashes. And as everyone else erodes and falls away, I'm still here. 15 years, guys. And I'm still here, and I'm still the same guy, and I still make the same kind of content, and I still love what I do. While everyone else out there has had to change or fail. I'm still here. So, I'm not going anywhere. To them, it's a meme. To them, it's a meme that Phil outlives everyone. It's not a meme. It's a fucking fact.
I don't think anybody describes your situation like that. You are not a rock that things just splash against and at the end you're still standing. People describe you as a roach, something unwanted but won't go away. That despite the apocalypse around you, for some reason you still persist, unwanted and disgusting. While you see yourself as some hero who continues to triumph every day, everyone else sees a roach who, no matter how many times you drop a bomb on it, no matter how many times someone comes by to squish it with their boot, is still alive and still kicking every single time.
It is, you know? At this point, that is who I am. And my existence on the internet is the guy who's been here for 15 years and is still not going anywhere and is still making the content and is still going on, right? I still make a living doing it. So, I think that's something to be proud of, and you can meme it as much as you want, but it's still true, right? How many more people will fall apart, be erased, and go fade into obscurity, and I'm still here. Right? All right.
And he says that his existence on the internet is that guy who's been here for 15 years and is still doing his thing and still making money doing it. You'll notice that in that, his existence and his legacy are not that he puts out good content that people still like seeing 15 years later. His legacy is not that he made a bunch of really good videos back in the day that people still cherish to this day. His existence is not that people reminisce about when they used to watch him as a kid and hope that he's still doing good. All he has to his name is that he's been here for 15 years and he still does it. It's like being proud that you spent 15 years on the street now homeless. Like, yeah, I guess there's some strength in that, but at the same time, like, that's not exactly something to be proud of. You should be trying to better your situation to some extent. But he's completely content with what he's doing, so I guess it doesn't matter to him. But after all of that, I just want to give another big ups to Snort Hogan. I appreciate the clip, brother. And of course, a big shout out to all of you guys for watching. I really do appreciate that as well. Some of you guys have said that I've become a part of your daily routine with catching up on DSP and that you're picking me over other detractors, and that means the world to me. It's crazy that anybody would actually pick my content over the other guys, because those guys do fantastic work. Hopefully, I'll catch you guys in the next one, but until then, make sure you do check out those other detractor channels and dive deeper into that Snort text.